Welcome to Sex with Dr. Zen. Today we've got two great guests talking on two really sexy topics. Dr. Joan Clayton, who's going to open us up to erotic poetry, really sexy stuff, and Mike Massey from Stratford, Ontario. He is going to explain and talk to us on the female sexual energy, the sex energy moving through the female body. Really great stuff, really important stuff. Come on back, you'll see us in a few minutes. I have Dr. Joan Clayton today with me on the show, and she's a pretty interesting woman. She is a clinical psychologist in human sexuality, which is a huge interest of mine, plus it even goes deeper than that. But I'm going to let you introduce yourself and just tell me a little bit more where this organic career flowed into some playwright and poetry that you're now into.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's awesome having you here.
Okay, and you know what? The dialogue has already started,
but
you know, it has truly been an organic journey. So I've always been interested in gender, and so that led me into sexuality. So I did my PhD at Western, specializing in human sexuality, and started teaching the course about 30 years ago. So for 30 years I've been a sex educator. I've been in private practice for 30 years, and so I do sex therapy as well. And I realized in preparing for today that I've always wanted to give people a language for sex, right? So when I work with students who are 21 or 22, I'm trying to help them, okay, how do you talk about an orgasm? How do you talk about foreplay? So I'm trying to give them a language in this course. So when I started writing 10 years ago, and I'm mostly a playwright, now a poet, I've had 7 plays produced, I have to put sex into it. But the kind of sex I would say I put in is erotic sex. It's sexuality that is sensual, that is beautiful, that makes people feel good. I would say that any of the erotic scenes that I've written for theater are going to be things that makes them feel good to watch.
So
it makes them.
Is the language erotica? Is it easy to learn?
I believe so.
Can anybody learn it?
Anybody can learn it, and anybody can practice it. You know, I mean, I think we have 50 Shades of Grey that came out 2 years ago and outsold Harry Potter that got women across North America talking about sex.
But to me, that's not a language. We're still, I think, focusing still on this hard stuff when it comes to sex. And to me, it doesn't sound like a beautiful place of spirituality with sexuality. It's still, that book didn't. We're not talking about that book. What are you doing to change that?
What I'm doing to change that is that, yes, I agree, a lot of the stuff that we have about sexuality that's been written or images, they're pretty exaggerated. They're not very realistic. They're not very sensual. Usually they make people actually feel inadequate. Many of the images in pornography. So what I'm trying to do is say that our sexuality should be full-bodied. It should involve our emotions. It should involve our spirits. It should be...
You're teaching.
I am teaching.
And where's the age starting for you to?
The human sexuality course is a second-year university, so 21, 22.
Do you think we could back it up a little bit?
You should back it up.
Well, how do you think we can get it changed into the high school, into the sex education, teaching another curriculum, another course?
Well, one of the first things to learn any language is to simply give people permission. So right now I have been doing some guest lectures at the local high school in the writer's craft course. And what I realized is the woman who's had me come in as a guest lecturer, I do talk about my erotic poems, or I do show them some of the scenes, we act out some of the scenes. Right. But I realized that all of my kids who've gone through high school English and writer's craft, they never do anything erotic.
Wow.
You know, I realized that why don't we? That would be absolutely fabulous. Is, you know, starting at 14, where, believe me, they're thinking about sex.
Of course they are.
They're thinking about it.
What
about assigning, okay, write an erotic poem, write an erotic short story. It'd be fabulous.
So what types of what have you read from the exercises?
Well, I haven't actually had them do it. I go in and I present mine, and then I leave it to the teacher.
Right.
But I don't think I've ever been that structured to say, okay, so how do we now start some sort of an assignment so that you can learn this language?
What is sexuality? Tell
sexuality,
me. What is it? It's not sex, but what is it?
Listen,
they're separate.
Philosophers and poets have been trying to capture this for years, centuries.
I need to know.
It is a deep passion.
Today.
Fire. Today, or you're not leaving. You're not leaving here without knowing.
The guests need to know, what is sexuality?
Okay. Well, okay, if I was to be as expansive as I could possibly be, it's a deep passion within us that I think is physical, emotional and spiritual. And then I would add creative, okay? Creative and playful. Because once you get into the creative, but I would say it's physical, I would say that it demands expression.
Really?
It's not a choice. It's like we have to eat, right?
Right.
We are sexual beings. Now, one of the gender differences that I've always been fascinated with is that women are more likely to shut off their sexuality because they're angry or they're resentful or they don't feel they're with someone who communicates with them. Men very seldom shut off sexually.
Right.
But I would say in any realistic, healthy situation, our sexuality demands expression. And if we can't express it in a healthy way, in a full body, mind, spirit way, then we turn to things like pornography.
Exactly.
I mean, the pornography, because of the internet,
But that's sex again. So that's the difference.
so we can say erotica or make it a little more full.
You have to generate that sexuality is creative energy. The sexual energy is the creative force.
Yes.
And to get more creative with it, it raises up that energy, and I totally get that concept because I harness that energy and it comes out through talk or your clothing or, I mean, it never comes out as sex. It just comes out as just playful. So writing about it, cooking, sexy food.
Well, there's been some of that.
Naked
sexy
cooking, that's sexuality.
It is sexuality. And it's sensuality.
And it's not a bad thing.
But people do need a language, and many people are not. Okay, I have a question for you. If you were writing an erotic poem, how would you describe the penis in an erotic poem? What word would appeal to you?
It's just a beautiful wand of light.
Wand of light.
I see the energy flowing. It's just a pillar of light.
Pillar of light.
Yes, like a fountain of energy.
Hardening against you. Yes. Okay.
Well, you asked me how to describe it. I mean, you didn't ask me how to describe it when it's close to me. Oh, don't get me going there. But it's a beautiful piece of work. Okay. Each one is different.
Yes. But a lot of people, when I ask them, I say, how do you describe male genitalia, female, in erotica? You know what? There aren't a lot of good words, believe it or not. There's a lot of crude words. There's a lot of tavern words. But do we really have good words that people... See, what I believe about erotica, here's another aspect. I think that anything that is beautiful sexually or truly erotic, body, mind, spirit, will make people feel better when they walk away.
Right.
So when people hear my poetry, I think they walk away, they're either laughing or they're smiling or they want to have sex. It isn't a crude, makes me feel inadequate, make me feel... It actually should make people feel better.
Yeah.
That would be another definition. I think what we're trying to do is come up with a language for sexuality, come up with a way of defining it that we can teach people or show people, right?
Yeah, I mean, the language, I like that term, that label to put on. It's it totally, because we've got one language for sex, and we've got one language for sexuality. I mean, you've got sex. It's like I want to take your dick and just stick it in there.
Well, listen, you know what?
That's not sexy.
While we're talking, I'm going to read a poem. This is something. I write historical fiction. I write World War II.
Right.
So writing about World War II, everybody was smoking. And what's really fun, now we don't smoke for health reasons.
That's sexy. Look, I used to think it was sexy.
Well, I'm writing
the
a series.
ruby lips and just that cigarette tip coming to the lips. And, the lips are like the vagina, the lips of the vulva. Yeah, that's why women wear lipstick.
That, absolutely.
It's sexy.
Okay, and that's so I'm going to read you something because this may lead you into some further questions.
Yeah.
So this is a series called When Smoking Used to Be Sexy. Never having been a smoker, I was shocked that I wanted a cigarette. We finished having sex and all I wanted to do was smoke, like one of those women in the movies, sultry and hot, inhaling deeply, eyes lined in black. Women leaning against metal fences, running along train platforms, breasts showing through the thin fabric of dresses. They wave goodbye and surrender, blowing kisses with full lips, then take another drag, watching the hazy rings float, up and away. Smoking used to be sexy, a cigarette after making love, when making love was a holy experience, a holy and whole experience. When lovers gazed through misty, wet windows, waited for letters to come, inhaling the smell of him left on the sheets.
Wow.
Waiting can be a holy experience when a lover is worth waiting for, when all you want to do is smoke after perfect sex. Months of wet longing comes to completion, forcing you to memorize poetry, rewrite the ending of your well-deserved life.
Wow, that's pretty erotic.
I think so.
I'm all tingly now from that.
But it's all about sensuality. It's all about perfect sex. It's all about
what is
sex.
Perfect sex?
Well, sex as I put it here as a holy and whole experience, right? Holy, bringing in the spiritual.
Right.
Okay, now I'm going to just do one more because this is really funny. It's about a cigar.
How do you bring in the spiritual?
Well, it's about waiting. It's about poetry. It's about changing endings. It's about perfect sex. I mean, that would be defined differently. That'd be a good writing exercise. Define perfect sex.
I need to learn how to write a poem on perfect sex, because I want to have perfect sex.
Anybody.
What in my mind,
write a poem.
in my vision of what I consider perfect sex to be, I need to write that out.
Okay.
If I was to write it out right now, it would be just totally a spiritual connection.
Well, listen, start.
So
give me a few words.
To
perfect
my partner.
Sex. Perfect sex.
I want to go out there somewhere.
Where? Where do you want to go?
Just out there to the cosmos.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But you know what we're talking about is anyone can write a poem.
Anybody can. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back in a few minutes. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to Sex with Dr. Zen. Today I have Mike Massey from
Hello.
Mind Body Connection in Stratford. Nice to have you here.
Thank you.
You're
Nice
awesome,
to be
man.
here.
Awesome. You know, sex. This is like a sex show, but it's really, we're going to get into sex energy with you, because I know that you focus on just that spiritual connection and the sex energy going through our body. A lot of us don't know about our sex energy.
Sure.
Chakra. They're called energy centers, correct?
Yep, chakras.
And so let's focus on the sex chakra, because that's what we're talking about today.
Sure.
So, I mean, when it comes to that energy, is the male sex chakra different from the female sex chakra, or are they the same?
Well, let's take a step back first and foremost and look at how we hold energy in our body. So we have 7 main hubs of energy, and those are different chakras. So, you know, one we're most common with is the heart chakra. So if you hear something that, or someone says you look great, or they love you, and you can kind of feel this energy in your chest, that's a heart chakra. The sexual chakra, you know, located in the groin area, is the exact same. You can experience energy going through that chakra at many different levels. Now, everybody experiences it independent of their own.
Right.
So, you know, not only do males feel it different than females, but depending on the work you've done on yourself, on how far you along perhaps on the spiritual path, really varies how sensitive your antenna is. So, you know, what some of the shamans I work with believe in, the more spiritual you are, the more sexual you are.
It's true.
It is true.
It's so true.
It is true.
I get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, it's all about tuning into your body and being fully here. So, you know, what I usually share with clients who come to see me are developing a steady mindfulness practice, a meditation practice, to learn if you're experiencing a somatic experience, so that's in the body, so really focusing in on the body.
Right.
And that could be something as your partner just simply, you know, touching your shoulder or your arm.
Right.
And fully being present with that sensation.
Right. Where can you feel that sensation in the sex
Absolutely.
chakra? When
Absolutely.
somebody touches you?
Absolutely.
In a non-intrusive way, but...
Well, you can feel it all many different ways. You can be walking down the street and seeing someone coming who is very attractive, and you can feel sexual energy right there.
But, I mean, what kind of sexual energy? Because there's like different, like some, okay, you've got somebody who looks at somebody and,
Absolutely.
wow, I feel it, right, I'm horny
Right.
all of a sudden, right?
Yep.
So what's that as different toward, like if you feel heart connection with the sexual
Right.
energy? Like,
Well, why start with the mindfulness practice is that so you can discern between the difference between a thought
right.
and an actual sensation.
Okay.
See, most people, especially women in the West, have been taught to repress sexual energy.
Yep.
So what happens is they may see someone who's attractive and they
Right.
go, oh, okay, they feel that in their energy, but then all of a sudden they feel guilt right away or
Yes.
shame.
Yeah.
Right? What we want to learn to do is that's an organic experience that you're connecting with somebody
Right.
on a real, raw, humanistic energy level.
Yep.
So you want to experience that energy and not have this judgment or doubt or blame about it.
Right.
You know, like I've been with my wife for 15 years,
Right.
and I'm alive and walking around, and if I feel sexual energy with someone, I can note that experience and then come back to the present moment.
When
There's a difference between noting the experience and then taking it and making a story up about it.
Right.
Or feeling that guilt or shame about it.
Right. Is there a positive place for women when they learn to open that sex chakra? Can they have better sexual pleasure?
Absolutely. Not only sexual pleasure, but sexual awareness.
Right.
See, a lot of women I work with are on either ends of the scale. They completely repress their sexual energy, or they use it all the time to, for their own benefit.
Right.
But what I call negative intent behind the sexual energy.
Okay.
See, what it's all about your intent.
Right.
So if someone is setting their intent just to be, to fully bloom what they have or to engage in what they hold, it's such a powerful movement. But if somebody's setting their intent, to manipulate something so they get things in a sexual way, that's a negative intent. So what we want to learn to do is fully recognize what we're experiencing in the body and watch the intent behind that action. Because your second chakra is full of chi. And what chi means is vital life force energy. So we all have this chi going through our bodies, right? And your intent follows your chi follows your intent.
Is that sexual energy is chi?
Yes.
Is that's our highest vibration in our body? Is
got
it not?
It is.
So, okay, so when we learn to harness it,
Yes.
can we sublimate that? Can we start to do things out of our body?
Yes.
Like, let's say, like I harness my energy.
Sure.
I rarely have an orgasm.
Sure.
I mean, so when I learned about that philosophy, I learned
Right.
how to really divert it out
Yes.
to other areas of my life.
Yep.
Get creative.
Absolutely.
Like, I started opening doors in my life, and I get that.
Right.
So how can we train that? How can we not get so focused on, I want to have a great orgasm with
Right.
that energy, which you can.
Right.
So how can we harness and train that?
So what we want to do is we want to bring everything back to what is present. See, everything that happens to you only happens in the present moment.
Right.
See, many people are caught in thought or thinking,
Right.
which entails something that's happened in the past, which is very egoic, or looking forward to the future of this could happen.
Right.
What we learn to do is bring everything to this present moment. So when you're with your partner in an intimate or non-intimate situation, you're just there with them in that moment. See, our mind doesn't stop thinking just because we're having sex. No, the mind produces roughly 70,000 thoughts a day.
Right.
Roughly. Right, 80, 90% of them can be negative.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. So if you're looking at the numbers, it's like 60,000+ thoughts could be negative, especially in front of those with judgments. What I often say to clients is, look what happens if you were to stand in front of a mirror naked with all your clothes off. Look at the automatic judgments that would come up.
Right.
Right? What we want to learn to do is to come into the body and be very present and learn how to work with distressing thoughts or judgments while you're actually being intimate with your partner.
So how do we do that? Through meditation?
Absolutely.
And what types of meditation
Well,
techniques can you recommend
Sure.
that you can practice with your partner?
So a basic breathing technique.
Right.
Of just simply breathing in
Right.
through the nose,
Right.
breathing in, for the count of 3, the long deep breath out the mouth
Okay.
for a count of 3 or 4.
Together?
Together, absolutely. There's actually, for anyone watching, they want to Google gazing meditation.
Right.
It's a meditation where you actually just simply hold your partner's hands and gaze into their eyes. And there's this uncomfortability that happens within the first, maybe 30, 40 seconds, because it's, there might be some laughs, but you get past that
Right.
and connect with your partner at a deep level.
Right.
And just learn to hold the space
Right.
with your partner in this kind of energetic experience.
It takes a lot of discipline to do that.
Absolutely.
Because if I do that with my partner, it's like it's over.
Right.
I'm just like right on him.
Well, see,
It's over. I have a hard time with that.
Sure.
I mean, I'm so generated with sexual energy. I get it, but I have a hard time with the breathing.
okay, but think about this. Let's say you're holding your partner's hands
Right.
and you're connecting with them at
Yeah.
this real raw level.
Right.
And you can get past that part when you normally would, make contact, right?
Right.
It's like, what if you just held that space with them
Right.
and really enjoy the energy in your
Yeah.
body?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's really about tuning into your body and fully experiencing you.
It's a practice.
It
You
takes
have
a lot of work.
Do you think it does?
It's the most. Dr. Zen, who is basically one of the main contributors to making mindfulness a westernized practice, says that doing mindfulness may be the hardest thing you ever do in your entire life.
Should you do it every day?
Yeah, I have to.
Is there a time of day that you have to do it? That's
no.
better than.
Practice in the morning is usually best.
And for how long?
Well, all the science supports about 27 minutes a day,
Oh.
supports the change in the brain that's needed to cultivate mindfulness.
Okay.
But doing 5 minutes is better than doing nothing.
It's a habit that has to be created.
Yes.
It has to be part of your life. It has
Exactly.
to be the link to every other rhythm that you have in your day.
You got it.
Yeah.
No, but relationships are work, right? It takes effort.
It does.
And people, the law of impermanence is things are always changing.
Right.
So that's why it's so important for not only do the self work, but to also do the work for your partner.
Right.
Because when you do this work, it's the best thing for your partner to be felt and known
Yep.
and felt respected.
Right.
And that only happens because as things are changing, it's so important that you are in tune with your partner and how they're changing energetically.
Right. Wow. It's a pretty organic process.
It is.
It's like, I get it because I practice it. I do. I'm a
Right.
firm believer in this whole, and it's new to me in the last 5 years
Right.
or so, but I get it because it's working for me.
Absolutely.
But there are still those times where I can't get into center
Sure.
and focus on the other, that primal, that animal thing.
Right.
I feel the energy so much that it
Right.
turns into just a strong force that I just want to,
Right.
how do you,
So-
it's just hard.
So what I would do is I would practice. So there's many different movements that require energy. So like yoga,
Right.
or tai chi, or chi flow, or qigong. And what that is purposely cultivating this energy, this chi,
Right.
and learning to move it through and around the body.
Right.
And that is something that would be very powerful for you. It's like you already have that hub of energy.
Yeah.
Using to breathe that up to your heart and then move it around.
Draw it.
Draw it around. Because the energy through your body
Yep.
can go to any chakra you direct it
Yes,
to
it can.
with your intent.
It humps intent here.
Right.
I get it.
Right, so you set your intent and you learn to channel this energy through your body and move it wherever you need to
Yeah,
move it.
it's pretty powerful.
It's extremely powerful.
You have to keep practicing it over and over and over again.
and what
it's,
I've seen with women recently is that when they are in tune with their second chakra,
Yes.
they start to manifest
It's true.
all over, like with work, with
It's so
relationships.
true. I get
it's
it.
Unbelievable.
Honestly, well, there's just not enough time to talk about this topic because
Yeah.
I get it as a woman. I
Sure,
know
my
it's
dear.
changed my whole life. We'll be back with more right after this. Thanks for joining me today. That was awesome having our guests on. If you have any questions on the topics that we talked today, you can email me directly at sexwithdrzen@rogerstv.com. There's more to come, so stay tuned. Join us back for the next show.